Let's get right into it. You think a parking ticket is bad? Our ancestors had ways of dealing with rule breakers that make a horror movie look like a kid's cartoon. These aren't just executions. They're masterpieces of pain and terror. So creative, you'd swear they were fake. They're not. Number 8, Scaphism, or the boats. Imagine this. You're an ancient Persian criminal. Your punishment isn't a quick beheading. No, that's too boring. Instead, they trap you between two hollowed-out boats or tree trunks with your head and limbs sticking out. Then the force feeding begins. They pour milk and honey down your throat until you're suffering from explosive diarrhea. They also smear honey all over your face and limbs. Now, they just leave you floating in a stagnant pond. The filth from your own body and the honey create a disgusting buffet for every insect in a 5-mile radius. Wasps, flies, and vermin arrive to feast on you and lay eggs in your flesh. The constant supply of milk and honey keeps you alive and conscious while you're slowly eaten from the inside out and rot away. This wasn't a punishment. It was a slow-motion biological nightmare. Number 7, the Brazen Bull. This one comes from ancient Greece, and it's a testament to twisted engineering. A tyrant named Phalaris wanted a new, more entertaining way to execute people. So he commissioned a life-size, hollow bronze bull with a door on the side. The victim was locked inside. Then a fire was lit underneath the bull, slowly roasting the person alive. But here's the truly diabolical part. The bull's head was designed with a complex system of tubes and stops. As the victim screamed in agony, these tubes would convert their cries into the sound of an enraged, bellowing bull. It turned an execution into a horrifying concert for a bloodthirsty crowd. The best part? Legend says the first person to test the bull was its own inventor, who was tricked by Phalaris and thrown inside. Talk about a design flaw. Number 6, Keelhauling. This was a favorite punishment for pirates and sailors in the 16th and 17th centuries. If a sailor committed a serious crime, he was tied to a rope that looped underneath the ship. Then he was thrown overboard and dragged under the ship's keel, its spine, and pulled up the other side. Now, the bottom of a wooden ship wasn't smooth. It was covered in barnacles, splinters, and all sorts of sharp marine growth. As the victim was dragged underneath, these barnacles would act like a giant cheese grater, shredding their skin to ribbons. If the scraping didn't kill you, you'd probably just drown. And if by some miracle you survived, you'd likely die from infection later. It was a no-win situation, designed to make you wish for a simple drowning. Number 5, Lingchi, or death by 1,000 cuts. This punishment from Imperial China was reserved for the worst of the worst crimes, like treason or killing your parents. And the name, death by 1,000 cuts, is horrifyingly literal. The condemned person was tied to a post in a public place. Then, the executioner would use a sharp knife to methodically slice off small portions of their body over a long period. A piece of the thigh, then the arm, then parts of the chest. The goal wasn't to kill quickly, but to keep the victim alive and conscious for as long as possible while they were slowly dismantled. It was psychological torture mixed with extreme physical pain, all performed in front of a crowd. It wasn't just an execution. It was a ritual of prolonged agony. Number 4, the Republican marriage. This one sounds almost sweet until you realize what it is. It comes from the French Revolution, a period not exactly known for its gentle methods. During the Reign of Terror, enemies of the state were executed in droves. In the city of Nantes, they came up with this method for mass drownings. They'd take a man and a woman, often a priest and a nun to add a layer of sick mockery, strip them completely naked, tie them together face to face, and then toss them into the freezing Loire River to drown. It was a darkly poetic, cynical name for a cold, efficient method of murder, turning the concept of union into an instrument of death. Number 3, Peniculiae, or punishment of the sack. The ancient Romans had a special punishment for anyone who committed parricide, the ultimate crime of killing your own parent. They didn't just kill you, they made sure your final moments were pure, claustrophobic chaos. The convicted person was first whipped, then sewn into a large leather sack. But they weren't alone in there. They were joined by a collection of live animals, a dog, a monkey, a rooster, and a viper. The sack was then sealed and thrown into a river or the sea. Imagine it. You're in a dark, enclosed space, slowly drowning, while being bitten, clawed, and pecked to death by a bunch of terrified, frantic animals. It's a level of creative cruelty that's hard to even comprehend. Number 2, the saw torture. This method is as simple as it is gruesome, and it was used across various cultures. The victim was hung upside down by their ankles. This had 2 twisted benefits for the executioners. First, it was humiliating. Second, all the blood would rush to the victim's head, which kept them conscious for much longer during the process. Once they were secured, 2 executioners would take a large 2-man saw and begin slicing the person's body in half, starting from the groin. Because they were upside down and fully conscious, they were forced to watch and feel every single moment as the saw worked its way through their body. It's one thing to be executed. It's another to be an active, conscious participant in your own bisection. Number 1, flaying. This is probably one of the oldest and most brutal punishments in the book, made famous by the ancient Assyrians, who were masters of psychological warfare. Flaying is the act of removing a person's skin while they are still alive. The executioner, often a skilled surgeon, would make careful incisions and slowly peel the skin off the body, usually try and keep it in one single piece. The victim would die from shock, blood loss, or infection, but only after experiencing an unimaginable amount of pain. But the horror didn't stop there. The skin was then often nailed to a city wall or draped over a statue as a terrifying warning to anyone else thinking of rebelling. Your body didn't just die. It became a literal billboard for the state's power and brutality. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.